anything?
All right, I'll call this meeting to order. This is the joint meeting of DPW Subcommittee and Town Council meeting of Tuesday, April 19th, 6 p.m. in the Veterans Room. Roll call, Councilor Steves.
Present.
Councilor Dow is absent. Councilor Lazo excused. Kevin Splain.
Present.
And I'm here. Consider and approve joint DPW Town Council meeting minutes of March 22nd, 2022.
Motion.
Second.
Kevin. Gus. Any corrections?
The only one question I caught was Stantec is TEC. And is it Stantec represents McCarthy? What is his first name? 'Cause it's not
Gary.
Gary?
Stantec is what?
Okay. It's TEC at the end,
Okay.
and the minutes don't mention Gary McCarthy's first name.
All right. I'll add it.
There was another guy with him too, but I didn't even get his name.
Justin Mata.
No, MOTTA. I think it's him. Other character person.
Justin what?
Mata, M-O-T-T-A.
All right. All those in favor? Uh-oh.
Yeah, no kidding.
Here we go again.
There was a
Alright.
flicker earlier today too.
Yeah, there was a flicker down in me.
Is it still on?
Just wind related probably.
Yeah, I never heard.
All right, agenda item number 4, Citizens Forum. Anybody in the audience have anything they want to say tonight?
Yeah, I do. I'm just not sure what committee it would go to. I posted a thing on Facebook about the trash on corner of High and Ash Street. Since I did that on Facebook, I've received probably a dozen different calls of locations of trash pickup. Is there any way, I know some people have already spoke to the DPW, not DPW, I'm sorry, Board of Health,
Okay.
with no results, and they come in here and they feel harassed. Is there a way or somehow that council can get involved with this or something? They just, and then nothing gets done. I understand that property is to something, Main Street, it's in the process of probably being taken down. But the people on Ash Street, they live with this trash that's from Ash Street, High Street, to Seal Street, that whole section. And it's just, it's nuts.
So your subcommittee would most likely either EHS or PPP. So
Okay.
whoever deals with the Board of Health,
All right.
it's chair side.
Well, that one's actually split between what they're doing. Enforcement generally goes to PPP, but you should be able to go. It should go directly, and they should be getting a decent response going directly to the Board of Health.
Board of Health.
They don't get no response at all, they don't, nothing.
Yeah, they should be getting something.
And people feel intimidated when they go in there because they're forced into filing paperwork, signing their names, and some people don't want to sign. Some people don't want to go in there anymore because they feel harassed. But-
Yeah, they shouldn't have to if it's,
All right, so
they're making
I'll
complaints.
say-
So, okay.
And then the other thing is a while back, about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, I emailed Heather about West Street Field. And
Oh.
I interned, I didn't get a response, and I actually forwarded it off to the manager, and the manager sent off an email to you, because he sent it to me. But it was regarding the fields, West Street Field. On third baseline, there was a hole, a big hole. And I just felt that now that Little League season started, does the DPW still do maintenance of the fields?
We went out right after we got your email the following week and did it. We couldn't get out in the fields because they were too wet. They were too wet.
It had to be filled because we did it as parents the following couple of days later. And I just feel that the parents, it shouldn't be their responsibility, but the whole infields need to be, they
They were
used to
dry.
do that.
They were dragged last week.
Well, I don't want to.
Okay,
I believe
I
you.
didn't go look for them,
believe
but
you.
I know
mean,
that.
I have no, it's just that now that Little League season started, if we could just be a little bit more vigilant, especially for
Yeah.
the.
No, I mean, we were waiting because we couldn't get the equipment on the fields purposely because they were too wet. And we've asked actually the rec director to be more communicative with us about, and with the Little Leagues about shutting the fields proactively to make sure they don't get damaged, because if we brought the equipment out there, they would have been totally ruined. This rain this spring, it's been so wet, so we had to wait until we knew that they were dried out enough, and I know they were on them last
I
week.
believe the big field was done, I looked at last night, the big infield where the stone was,
Yep.
but it's a little field where the little kids play. We ended up bringing rakes and filling the hole in and actually raking the infield down. And I understand, you know,
I
you're
was-
limited staff,
yeah.
but
I was told they were all done, so I will
Yeah.
ask, but I was told they were all
Yeah.
raked and all pulled. Last week they were doing them, and they brought in additional stone dust and everything.
I believe the big field was, yes, I believe that, you know, but the little field, the little kids play. But, like I say, I did email you about it, and I know I forwarded it to the manager's office.
I forwarded my email to the operations manager, I'm sorry if he didn't
Okay.
reply to you.
All right,
Because
no
I don't
problem.
direct the day-to-day operations,
No, I know
I
you
tell
don't.
them what to
Right.
do, and if he didn't respond that it was done, but he might have been waiting to find out too. But those requests should really be going
Through the rec?
through rec
Okay.
about whether the field should even be open.
Mhm.
Well, they're all playing on, when they're on all the fields, they're playing at West Street, they're playing at all the fields.
I know I've seen kids over
I know
at
that
North Street.
now, basically now that we've gone out there, that I would say that's okay, but I think a little communications back and forth from him to us first to say, hey, have you had a chance to do the fields yet? And then our answer would have been no, because they're too wet. Please don't have anybody go on them because I haven't had any maintenance on them. And then you guys would have known ahead of time, and it wouldn't have been an issue.
Okay, well, what I'll do is, if there's another problem, I'll do it
Yep.
through the rec, and I'll actually.
You should do it through both,
I'll forward
me
it to you also.
and Phil and the rec, but, because
I couldn't-
then I can get them out to
I
them.
couldn't, the only email that I was able to send it off to was yours actually on the website, but the website stinks anyway.
All right.
Okay,
That's being
Oh,
nice.
that needs to be fixed too, because that was supposed to be improved. So,
Yeah, I don't like the way the emails come
Yeah.
through to me even from the
Right.
website, because it's not, I can't actually access them right now, so that's a glitch in the system.
That's a different issue.
Yeah, it's a whole different
We need to
issue.
deal with that.
So I might
Yeah,
not.
that's good enough.
okay.
All set?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
And just so you know, I just emailed both the manager and Andy about that issue just raised. So.
Okay.
All right, agenda item number 5, discuss and recommend to council approval of change order number 1, wastewater treatment facility conveyor upgrades project with contractor Sherbourne Consolidated Incorporated for a time extension to the contract for 84 days as a result of manufacturer's delays of the conveyor equipment. There is no cost increase for this change order.
Second.
Thank you.
This is pretty simple. These are delays related to COVID and shipping problems and materials problems that they just can't get some of the stuff as quickly as they used to, so,
So do they actually have it, and can they do the
yeah.
work?
So
Still waiting.
I believe it's scheduled to be shipped, and they knew that it was going to. That's why we kind of waited, because for a long time, we didn't even know when, they wouldn't even give them a date of delivery, but now they have a date of delivery, and that's why they felt comfortable going ahead and doing the change order now.
All set, Gus?
Let me just clarify, so they're talking 84 days until 9/7. Okay.
All right, Kevin, got anything?
Nope.
All right. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item number 6, discuss deteriorating condition of the road and sidewalk in the intersection of Benefit Street and Len Street. I put this on there because I got a call this past week from someone who said it was pretty bad, and I took a ride down there, and there's a giant
Oh, there's a big
pothole.
hole.
And there's also the sidewalk is up right against the hydrant.
That's not the agenda I have.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My agenda's totally different then.
You didn't get the
You didn't
revised
revised.
one.
Yeah, you must have not got the revised one.
Take the town website, here, actually, here, take that one. It's okay, follow along.
I just quickly.
We just added number 6. That's
Oh,
all.
that's it, okay.
Yeah, I've seen both of them. The one I'm looking at doesn't include that, but I have seen it.
It is on the website.
It's on the
Yeah.
website.
Because I printed mine off the website, so.
So-
Sorry, Kevin? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Somebody,
just,
someone called me up and
Yep.
and asked me to come down. to
So,
the-
so this person has called multiple times to the office, and that hot hole has been filled multiple times with cold mix. It's the way it is, it's too deep, and then every time, of course, it rains every 3 or 4 days, the rain just washes all the cold mix away. It has been prepped with a dig safe number, so, and I believe the guys were actually out there today prepping how they were going to cut it tomorrow, pull up the asphalt, and the whole area curb to curb will get paved. The sections of concrete sidewalk that are raised are gonna be pulled, and asphalt sidewalk is gonna be put in there temporarily because we couldn't even put concrete back in there because it will just do the same thing. There's a big tree that is not ours, it is the property owners, that is causing the sidewalk to heave. So that is the plan of action. So over the next 2 days, it should, as long as it stops raining, it should get paved, and that corner will be taken care of.
Okay, very good. Any questions, Gus?
Yeah, as I recall, I remember raising an issue with you, I think it was that same corner, about the hydrant down there.
The hydrant's fine.
Because I remember, I think it was a concern, somebody raised a concern about it.
They were concerned that the hydrant's fine, the hydrant's not moving, the sidewalk's coming up close to the hydrant. As soon as we pull it out, it'll be absolute. It's, even if it touched the hydrant, it wouldn't do anything. It's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Water department actually went and looked at it last week because they also complained about the hydrant, were concerned that nothing's gonna happen to the hydrant, it's absolutely fine.
Okay. Ms. Doyle?
I'm just curious, is it, okay, you mentioned the rain, but is it the cold temperatures? It's like cool, not, I guess it's not cold, but
Bouncing back and
I
forth.
hate these middle seasons because I think it's so cold. If it's like 20 or -10 or something, okay, I can deal with it. If it's, well, not really hot, but
The change in
kind of hot,
temperatures,
but
the
not
change in
these.
weather, the back and forth to freezing to wet to, is completely, it's the worst season for the roads.
okay. Okay, I was just wondering
Hot,
if the
cold mix
temperature
doesn't
had
stay, hot
anything.
mix we can't do because it's too cold and too wet. So we're actually going to have a window of good weather the next couple of days, we should be fine.
Are the plants open?
JSL was opening supposedly today. Yeah. So they weren't even open. We've been getting a lot of calls, and I know people don't understand that, like Kevin does, but not everybody understands that we can't just, first of all, the only plants that I think were open were Springfield, because even Palmer Paving and Palmer wasn't open. They were only open at their Springfield plant. And so we only have accounts at certain places. We don't want to go that far because if we went all the way to Springfield, it wouldn't even be hot mix by the time we got back, right? Kevin's like, it's bad. So we have to kind of wait until JSL opens up in Charlton to go get our hot mix and start hot mixing. So
That makes sense.
it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's also, go to Oxford, but
Nature of the
even then
beast.
it's long. Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast.
It's the nature of the beast.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Anybody else have anything on this? No. All right, agenda item number 7, update on road improvement program, including Main Street walkthrough.
So I'm going to start on the Main Street walkthrough. Both the town manager and the engineer are on vacation this week, so there was discussions a week ago about getting it scheduled, but they both asked to wait until after their vacations to schedule it. So the Main Street walkthrough will be happening in the next couple of weeks when all parties involved can agree on a date and a time. I will send it out through you, Chairman, if anybody wants to be there. I know you all won't be, but I know Kevin would like, but if you could pass it along. As soon as I get a date and time. We swept it so that it would be ready, so we could see better. I did have them already go out and sweep it off. I know that it will probably deteriorate some more in the time, but I felt like that was something we needed to do before we did the walkthrough.
All right.
Makes sense.
So that's where we are in Main Street.
Before you, before you move on,
Yep.
questions on Main Street.
Yep.
And obviously JSL just opened up today. Is it possible to put on your schedule Central Street, Main Street, corner, and the pothole on Everett Street? with.
Well-
I understand.
Why don't I make Lynch do it?
Somebody do it. The one that's on the corner of Central Street is in the travel lane, and
I'll ask them
everybody hits
to,
it.
I know that they came previously to do it, so the foreman from Lynch and I emailed about different things. I will ask him to come maintain that those holes are getting bigger, and that if I can, and the one at Everett Street. I'll do that instead of having us, because I don't really want to touch it.
I agree with you.
Okay.
We should not touch it. There's
I will
still-
ask them, I will reach out and ask them, and I'm sure he will come and do it in the next.
Can you ask him what the situation is with the pile at the parking lot
Mm-hmm.
on East Main Street? That's, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think
He
that,
should have had
that,
it,
that
yep. Mm-hmm.
should have been removed some time ago.
You mean at the corner of Morris Street?
Yeah.
Down?
Yeah,
that
I
one,
actually
yeah.
looked at that today, I thought it was for another project coming up.
I did too, actually.
Maybe I
Yeah.
just
No.
drove right by it, I get used to it.
It's for that. The only other question I technically have, and it's been asked before, and no one's actually, I haven't been satisfied with an answer. The bond that we have on Main Street, I'm told, is 5% of the project.
No, we have retainer,
Okay.
and then we also have a bond.
So my question is, that original project started out roughly at low 2 millions.
Mm-hmm.
So is the retainer and the percentage on that 2 million, or the 4.3 million we're at now?
The retainage is on the full project. The bond is on the original amount.
So, my opinion only, I think Main Street needs to be reground from Pine Street all the way down to Everett Street. I'm just curious, do we have enough money in bonds and retainers to cover that? Because in
Well,
my
the
opinion,
proper
that whole
method,
asphalt is
first
junk.
of all, the proper method is, we still haven't done our negotiations with Lynch. The proper method is, we have the meeting with Lynch.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with retainage of the bond.
Okay.
We request them to submit a plan to rectify the problems that we see with the asphalt. And get them, we walk it, we say, look, we have problems with the asphalt. Us as the town are not happy with this. We think it all needs to be brought back down to base course and then put a new top course on.
Okay.
They're gonna come back with an alternate,
Yeah.
with some type, or they might say, yep, you're right, we're gonna do it. I've already talked to the engineer about having samples taken of the asphalt, core samples
I
taken
agree
of
with
the
that.
asphalt, so that we have more ammunition back and forth with him and documentation. And then we'll come to an agreement about where he's gonna, how much he's gonna, and all of that. So we have to give them the chance to make it right
Okay.
before we ever go pulling their bond or paying for it ourselves. Now, if they walk away and say we're not going to do it, which they're not going to do, okay? They're fully aware. They've already agreed in concepts or certain locations and certain amounts. Totally aware. When we show them more and say that we're not happy, there's going to be some back and forth.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, but that's where we go yet. If they were to walk away and say we're not doing anything, that's when we pull their bond.
Okay.
That's why we have the retainage. Okay, so we're not there. They are not disagreeing. They're not saying they're not going to do anything. We need to let this. I know everybody. I know it doesn't move fast for everybody, but we kind of have to let this play out.
No,
And
I
part of the
understand
reason, part of the reason we wanted to let it play out over the winter is that I wanted it to get worse. I wanted it to weather, and I wanted it to start potholes other places, and I wanted to see the other spots where it was going to start spalling, because I wanted to increase the area
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
that they were going to have to not even negotiate on. So the bigger and bigger the spot gets, the more and more ammunition we have.
Right. So, I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, but does the town legally have to go with Lynch to repave that?
Yes,
Okay.
we have to give them the chance right now, yes.
Because they're technically not a paving company, but, okay, so we do have to do that, okay. Thank you.
All right?
Unless they walked away.
Okay, yeah, that's a different story.
Then we're in charge of hiring our own person and go through the bond, unless they walk away, which they're not. They're too big of a company.
Counselor Steves, you have anything?
I had an issue, actually, it's not specifically on this project, but it is paving related.
All right, hold off.
We're going
Counselor,
through a line.
anybody else have anything? No? You are aware of the seam right down the middle there?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's getting wider.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
That's why we waited.
that's why we waited.
It's ridiculous.
So, I mean, yeah, that's why we waited.
Okay.
I think the walkthrough is gonna be a big eye opener for a lot of people and a lot of things.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
Is there a way, once this is rectified, if it's not all done over, that
We get an
an
extended.
extension of
Yeah.
warranty or whatever?
So that would be an option. I've seen that done on other jobs that I've been on, that they've asked for an extended warranty. So that's part, well, so, and somebody could say, well, why didn't you just do it without the town manager? Well, that's part of the town manager's negotiations with him. It's really me giving him the technical, let's ask for this, let's ask for that, but he's gotta negotiate. This is higher level negotiations. He's gonna be, he's gotta make the deal of what we're gonna get. Okay, so yes, that could be one option. If they didn't do upper half, and only did the lower half, yeah, we asked for a 10-year warranty on it.
Should be longer than that.
It wasn't reclaimed. 10 years is about all you're gonna
That's
get.
about max.
You might be only get 5, so, but.
Okay, well, Counselor Steves, if you have something else you want to
I
do.
did. A couple of months back, I actually emailed you and talked to you briefly about taking a look again at the pavement deterioration in Lebanon Hill. I think I mentioned it back in like October or something, maybe November, and you said you'd take a look at it back in the spring.
Yeah, and I think I did look at it, and I don't,
At the time, we were still snow on the ground.
Yeah.
I remember, so.
so maybe so Lebanon Hill was paved over 10 years ago.
And I was thinking that I know it was paved probably pretty close to 10 years, 10 or 12 years.
It was paved before I was here, and I've been here 10 years.
Was it?
It was
I know it was Ken Kalinowski did it.
then it was more than even that.
Didn't that long ago? Wow. It seems like.
I thought that actually, I think Tom Daly did it because it was being finished up when I was here, and I know he had him rip it up and redo it. So, it was I think it was 10 years ago last fall that it was done.
Might have been, okay. Either way, the maintenance work that we did last year with the coating and stuff really didn't do much.
So
There's
Fox Seal.
several serious issues with all parts all over the place.
Well, and Fox Seal is again, we're trying different treatment
Yeah.
methods because other people have said they've worked. Whether we have come to the same determination in our town or not
Right.
is up to. So these are trying.
Right, sure, I get it. I
We're
know.
trying because people say it's going to extend the life.
Right.
It's a life extender. It's not going to fill cracks. It's not going to. It's trying to extend the life of oxidizing asphalt. Asphalt oxidizes.
Oh, sure, I get that.
Okay, and it's 10 years old, and so as it oxidizes, the idea is to try to impregnate it with additional oils back in to make it more malleable and extend the life of that asphalt.
It doesn't seem like we're working all that well.
I am going to have conversations with the company that did it and say, we are not totally convinced. Do you want to take some core samples and show us how you think it worked? Because we don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
And have them come out and look at it and do that. Because I agree, but that's also part of the thing. You got to remember, this was, can we get a little more bang for our buck by doing this
Oh, I get
over a
that.
large
I
area
get
at a
that.
cheap, because it's a lot cheaper price.
I get that.
Maybe the answer will turn out to be no, but it's one of those things that if you don't try it, you really don't know for yourself.
No, I get that.
Anecdotally and from other people's experience and, they say it's worked for them. Whether it's gonna work whether it worked on our roads, I'm not sure.
It seems like the cracking is getting worse very quickly. There are whole patches where they have crack sealed it, and there are cracks like popping up all right around the crack sealing points, and it's a mess. It hasn't gotten to the point where it's really seriously disintegrating,
No, but
but there are spots where it could easily start going that way fairly quickly.
You all set, Counselor? Kevin?
since Gus brought it up, Heather, school me on something. We fog sealed Lebanon, Eastford Road.
Ash and Alpine.
What did we do? What was that we did on Pleasant?
That is a double micro seal. It's like a slurry that they put down with it's a fine sand slurry that it ends up being a coating more like 1/8 of an inch thick.
So what happened on that road with that
Um,
pass on the left
it
side
didn't,
going up?
it didn't
It's-
stick.
One is thicker than the,
Other, yeah. Well, one section didn't stick, and they did come back and try to redo it, and they're going to probably be coming back in the spring and redoing it because they know there was issues there.
okay.
So we knew in the fall there was some issues, and then they said, we're going to wait till spring, and then we'll.
Okay, so there is,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So
So
is
it's
that-
a
that-
wear course.
Yeah, so that we did on Pleasant Street, that like seals cracks and, because it's a thicker
It's
material?
a thicker material. It can actually help if there's not a lot of rutting, but a little, it can help with a
Even
little bit
more.
of rutting to make it a more smoother surface to ride
Okay.
on.
All right. I was just wondering, because last
And
time-
it's obviously more expensive than the fog seal, but not as expensive as doing mill and
No,
overlay.
definitely.
So you're
It's give or
trying to extend again, it's a life extender in theory of the roads.
I'm kind of like with Gus on that. I agree with what we did on Pleasant Street, the thickness of it and what it does, but.
The fog seal,
I'm not
it's-
impressed with that
I'm not-
fog seal. I wasn't impressed with that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr.
So
Shannon?
what's happening with Dresser Street? Are they gonna redo the trench? It's dropping down?
Upper dresser up, that's on us at this point. It's been way past the 3-year moratorium.
Yeah, we went at that already. It's way past that.
So are they gonna fix it before it really gets, or we just gonna let it go until it really,
We'll take a look at it. If we fix it, we're cutting it out ourselves. They're
Right.
not doing it.
I understand.
Or hiring somebody, because I don't want to go in. We don't have cutters to cut it out probably, so.
No second.
And if we're gonna
Thank you.
work on
Also,
Dresser, it
right.
makes sense to do the rest of it.
And you
We
want?
can't, Dresser Street still has gas work to be done on it.
It would be nice if they were consistent and did one street at a time and finished it.
You said you had some more on
Street projects.
street road improvement.
Well, you put that on. I didn't know if you wanted to go through, if you had questions from the list that I gave you last meeting. I figured, I know that, I
I have a question.
I guess I can give you some different statuses of where we are.
I was
in
wondering
different
if
things.
we, me personally, if we can get a status update as far as how South Street's going, because we did start back up again, and my other, I don't know if you want to do one at a time or not.
No, we talked about
My other
South Street.
question is, in regards to, I believe we've already gone out for bids for West Street.
West Street's out to bid right now.
So my only question is, as far as material goes, ductile iron right now is.
We already know
very-
we already extended let's do West Street first. So West Street is out to bid, as Kevin brought up. So we extended the bid date. It was supposed to close tomorrow. It's now next week. So we won't be on next week's meeting. We'll probably need a meeting the week after to review the bids. We're already being told, by different people, and I've talked to suppliers myself. I was at a technical conference and I talked to a couple suppliers. I said, "What's the real deal?" And he's like, no, it's a long time out. They're saying 36 weeks right now, which puts you to Christmas. But we also have heard that there are some people that have pipe. So we don't want to, we've extended it to June at this point of next June. It may need to be extended further, and we've kind of given some flexibility language that we will entertain that, knowing that there's materials crisis is going on, if there can be proven. But there is work that could be done. it was probably not gonna get done all over the summer anyways, and into next fall, we probably weren't paving to the following year anyways. If his extends our paving to being in the next, a year from this fall, then so be it. But let's start doing the sewer work, let's start doing some of the drainage work, and see where we get with the ductile iron pipe.
So, as far as, obviously, I know the ductile line's a problem because I'm having it too, is can we seriously have somebody check into that plastic PVC pipe? See if our water, what we do with our water will affect using that. I don't know what you want to call it, plastic pipe, PVC, whatever. Can we use it? Is it?
Didn't we take the PVC pipe out of Charlton for the exact reasons? Because they put it in there, we got rid of it.
PVC laterals
Laterals.
out of Charlton.
So what, back up a second here, what exactly are you talking about here?
With
So what it
different
is
type
is
of materials.
materials we use ductile iron, that's that black pipe metal, and right now it's very, very hard to get it. So it's gonna delay projects, and it's scarce to get it.
All right,
I've seen and I've used this plastic pipe. It's basically, it almost looks like the yellow gas pipe that you see that Boston Gas or National Grid, whatever it is,
Right.
uses for water instead. I don't know if we can or cannot use it because of what we put in our water to treat our water, if it
That's-
affects valves or, I don't know.
No, I mean, we probably wouldn't go to plastic valves, just because they're not. really-
Right, but I don't know if
And that
what's
would-
in our material, what's in our water, what we treat our water with, not the plastic valves, still go with your normal gate valves and everything, but if it.
It
if
shouldn't
affects
have
that,
any
well,
effects of the plastic. The biggest concerns that the water department has voiced to me regarding plastic pipe, there's a couple different concerns. The durability around it when other people work around it. It's not as durable, it's easier to break. Now, there are different versions of plastic pipe. There's C900, so there's different pipes that we can look at that one might be more durable and flexible, which is good. So there's the constructability issue, it's not traceable issue, it's a different type of tapping method when you tap it, so it's easier to split when it's tapped. So there's some issues regarding the construction that are concerning your backfill material. It's much more, you have to be much more careful with it because you don't want to put anything it's basically you're going under 2 inches and you better have a lot of sand in it. It better be really good gravel the whole way. There's no using existing fill to put back in it probably at all. Which is that. The other concern that I've voiced is with all of what we've been hearing with PFAS and microplastics, I don't know what the long-term issues are with that. I know there were some studies, the reason we took it out of Charlton, it was there were some studies regarding contamination being able to seep through, MTBE,
Yeah.
able to seep through because they're like compounds through the PVC and into the water. So that was a concern. That's why we took it out of certain locations in Charlton. And the non-traceable thing, which you can get around, you have to be really careful with where you put your wire in and that it goes and that it's all linked and everything. But it's just it's a different thing. So we haven't done it. There are certain sections in town I'd be a little weary just because of how high the pressures are. There's certain sections in town I'd be a little weary because of, I wouldn't want to put it there and have it break 10 years from now and knowing it's like the main area of town. So Upper West Street, where we're replacing all the valves in West and South, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
that's
waiting
too
for
much
ductile
idea,
for that.
yeah.
Lower West Street,
Main carrier, yeah.
we've had conversations, but at this point we've decided that, well, it was already kind of out to bid when we even started. We were like, we're going to change everything now, which means changing the details, changing
Yeah.
all of it.
So you don't think it's an avenue to,
I do think it's an avenue that we have to explore because we have other projects coming up and that we have to look at. Steve's talks to, we've talked to some of the engineers and to give us like the plus and minuses of what they've done in the past and where the pros and cons are. It's cheaper. There's a big pro there. It's cheaper. The price of ductile is going through the roof too, just because you can't get it, right? So there's a big benefit there. We have to start doing a cost benefit analysis of, is this
See,
worth
that's
the
how I
risk?
was looking at it cost-wise.
And-
Granted, it's more on the labor end because excavation, sand base, coverage.
But it's lighter. It's easier to put in.
But
There's-
is it viable? That's the main.
So in certain, like I
fine.
said, I think we're gonna wait right now and leave it in the spec as it is in West Street. We are going to see once we get a contractor, what they're saying. It's not without reason that we could say, well, give us a alternative price, give us a change order for doing plastic at this detail and this. And then we can make a decision, and how does this affect our timeline?
Right.
So that's allowable. We can still do that. It's just that everybody has to realize we will be making a
new.
decision to ask for a change order.
Right.
And it's something that we
It's
haven't
new.
done.
See, that's my thing. It's new. Nobody knows anything really
Yes.
about it.
Right.
There's lots of places that use plastic pipe. The whole rest of the nation uses it, but the whole rest of the nation doesn't have our freestyle cycles and our rocks
Exactly.
everywhere. And
Right.
it's really nice to put it in Arizona where it's all
See.
sand.
True.
I don't know. So I have put it in myself on a project when I was a consultant. I can tell you they broke that pipe all the time. Now granted, that was the old PVC pipe. They have a newer one that's much more flexible, but then I worry about, well, what are they putting in it to make it so flexible?
Right.
And is there something, I don't know.
Right.
With everything, we weren't detecting levels of PFAS. Are we gonna start seeing PFAS in the plastic that they're using?
Right.
And does that mean it's gonna be in our water? I don't know
Or
that.
other plastics. Is there
Or
some
other
plastics out there?
microplastics.
Yeah,
Those are
I don't think I would
chemicals.
trust the plastics.
I don't either.
See, that's the thing.
I don't
I
know.
was just curious because, like I said, it's scary because nobody knows anything about it. People have, it
So-
has been used, but the longevity, nobody knows.
Right, so I can tell you, I know over in Sturbridge, they've had problems with their where they have plastic, they've had problems with it breaking. Hull Road, how many times have there been water main
Oh,
breaks
that's
in Hull?
plastic
That's
over
plastic pipe. But that's the old stuff, because that's been there.
The new stuff is,
And they say it's bendable as everything.
Is there anything that's not plastic and not ductile iron that can work?
HDPE,
yeah,
That's still plastic.
yeah, it's still plastic, yeah.
it's garbage.
There's
Yeah, the old wood
nothing, there's nothing
pipes.
else you could use. Like
Wood, yeah, we're gonna do wood.
We'll go wood pipes, yeah. All right, so,
Set?
yeah, thank you.
You have anything?
Mm.
And then
South Street.
South Street update.
They started work again. They had some problems with their backfill. We've got better methods. They're doing more testing more frequently out there. Of course, with the rain, it's kind of caused some havoc. But they're proceeding along relatively well. I have a meeting next week to get a better update. They are proceeding, at least getting closer to getting it. They're getting down the hill actually pretty well with where they are.
Yeah, it seems like they're fairly close to
They're getting there.
5-star, whatever you wanna call
They're
it.
near to the end. You can start to see it. But they do have to do crossovers, and they have a lot of more. So they're just getting the mains in.
So in your opinion, how's our time frame? We kind of still up?
I think
We on
last
track
meeting we
still?
were still on track, so
Okay.
which is good.
Considering the rain.
Considering, well, they get yeah. They're still on track. I will know better next week. But
That's it for me. For
And
those
the,
are only
and the
ones.
plan for that project is to pave it this year?
yes,
all done.
this fall. I'm gonna let it sit. We have a minimum of a 90-day.
Right.
Let your trenches sit. I'd love it to be longer, honestly, but I don't think we can live with the road another winter anyways. So we will, and that's complete, and it has the benefit of being a complete reclaim.
Right.
So yes, you want trench settlement, but you're going to dig up the top 12 inches anyways, the whole
And our
thing.
reclaiming pavement's gonna go curb to curb,
Yeah.
not like
Yep.
we did on Dudley River Road.
We didn't reclaim on Dudley River.
No, end to end, through those S-turns.
No, it's gonna go from, the whole way it's gonna reclaim from the town, from the top at the town line, all the way down to the pump, to the sewer pump station.
Well, that'll be good.
That'll be nice.
You have anything else?
And all the drainage is getting redone, the
only
side
thing-
drains and
The only
everything.
thing I wanted to ask about the road improvement program is, this is the list that I had last year. Are you planning on doing this again? Because this, what you gave me this year is the short list. Are you, it's
So
already-
this is the crack seal list.
And that was from last year.
Yep.
Are you
we
planning
did-
on doing all this year?
Well, so what we,
Crack seal, micro surface, fog seal, and 2-inch overlay.
so we gave you different options
Right.
with different options of what to do, including microsurface and mill and overlays, if you look on the second.
But you're not gonna be doing as many roads, is that the big?
Well, we need, and I know the town manager gave you his capital budget,
Right.
and I believe he had $1 million in there. So as soon as you guys decide what your priority is for the $1 million, if you wanna set aside, now, we still have a little money left in the contract for crack sealing, so we can do additional crack sealing roads. Separate, so it's not a lot, it's not 200,000 like we did last year, but there's some money. But I gave you this to say, you can't do all of this. You kinda have to pick and choose.
Right. So
Pick
it's not gonna be like this list then?
Well, if you say, I would like you to do $100,000 of crack sealing, we will find $100,000 crack sealing. We
Well,
will do some crack sealing.
Actually, you provided this last
I
year.
understand, but if you decide that you wanna do Gulfwood Road for $1 million, I can't do
So that's
100,000.
all I'm asking, is
Right.
that the plan is, I did have a resident who lives on Gulfwood Road, and they said they live beyond Ellis Road,
Mhm.
and they're asking that it continue, whatever you're gonna do up there, that you continue beyond Ellis Road, not stop at Ellis Road. But I told them that I would bring this to your attention to see what.
We will go as far as the money will allow us.
That's basically, that's really all I'm asking, is, are we planning on doing, like, this was quite a list last year, or because it's gonna cost more money, we're gonna cut back on the amount of roads?
We have to.
That's the plan, all right.
So
That's
I
what
will
was
say
asking.
that, I don't have a number yet, and hopefully within the next month, we'll have a final number. And the only reason I don't have a final number yet, from snow and ice, is that we have some major repairs to some of our snow and ice equipment that we're trying to
All right,
get the parts in, and we have to cover some money. But I think it's gonna be close to 100 grand. So what I would say is, with that money, we select roads to do maybe some more crack sealing and maybe some more micro surfacing, and then use the $1 million on roads however you guys decide, you know. And I'm happy to give you guidance. As you can see, we have more needs. I mean, and this is the short list of the needs. This isn't even a long list. This is the list of the needs that you guys have voiced, or we
Almost
have,
every road.
you know, said that these are the ones that we could do. You know, Charlton Street was on our microsurface list last year. We didn't do it because we couldn't do it at the same time that we were doing Mechanic Street. It would really be nice to be able to do Charlton Street. We've got a price there. That would be something we could do. Elm Street's another one that, you know, and we tried to give you our priorities of where we, high, medium, low, of what we saw, of what we thought was the best bang for your buck, but we can't do it all.
okay.
Right.
Not with $1 million. You want to give me 2, we proportion. But if you decide that Gulfwood Road's your priority,
Well, I believe we gave you 10 million.
Right, wasn't there authorization for $10 million?
you don't want your taxes to
I
go
know,
back
I
up that
know.
way.
You can't, I know you can't do all 10 million at once, but we did authorize 10
A
million.
bond for 10 million, so you bond $1 million this year, you bond $1 million next year, you know,
Right.
it doesn't.
It still builds on your taxes, and until you know you have the revenue coming in, which the idea, I believe, was the pot
Pot,
revenue,
yeah.
which is not matching the sale, the cost of your bond. So I'm happy to take direction. Again, I'll find a number of roads to what you want to do. I do think doing, and we're doing major projects.
Right.
You're doing South Street, you're
Okay.
doing West Street,
Yeah.
you're doing
But that's not road.
River
improvements.
and
Right.
Crane, you know, it's not out of the road improvements, but those are your major
Yeah, again, I know.
soup to nuts.
And we
road.
did ask at one time, this committee did ask that we have some priority roads.
Yep.
But then it was changed last year to best first roads.
And
So-
that's still a way you're going to get your best.
Right.
So our road index did improve last year, and the
Right.
reason it improved is because we took that approach. If you take, now granted, it's a weighted index, so you can do some of these roads, but I can tell you, Gulfwood doesn't give you as many points of improvement as doing something like Main Street or doing something like West Street, because those are heavily traveled roads. Now granted, I know Gulfwood's, I travel it all the time.
Yeah.
I know exactly how it is. It's in a bad shape, but it needs a lot of work,
I understand.
and it's really expensive.
Well,
What
that
if
was
the
just my
Southern half
question, what the plan is for this year as compared to last year.
The plan will, if everybody thinks a million's going through, I will give you what we think our priorities are, but I would really like to hear from you as a committee. I mean, at one point, this committee said they really wanted Ellis Road done.
Right.
Ellis Road's 400, and that's an estimate. That's an estimate, and if the cost of asphalt goes up, which it's already,
Going up.
Kevin can tell you,
It's going up.
last year we paid $70 a ton. This year we're paying 80.
Okay.
It's gonna go up 30%.
Probably.
Going up again.
All right. So
I
does
thought-
anybody have anything else? Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, wasn't
All right.
it, as I recall, didn't we talk a while back about doing the rest of Mechanic Street this coming year?
So Mechanic Street is on our list
Yeah.
for a mill and overlay for the section that wasn't done.
That's what I thought.
So it's on there. If you,
How much does that cost? I don't know if I
Mechanic
don't
and
think I
North
got
Street
that
is
list in my
400.
email.
480.
it wasn't, it was a handout.
Okay, because I didn't get that email.
And that's at last year's prices? Ballpark?
We've upped them a little bit, but again, we don't, it's every time we turn around.
Changes
Yes.
weekly.
So it's not, I mean, alls I can tell you is that, Kevin, I'm glad I'm not a contractor because I don't know how they're bidding anything right now.
14 days.
It's ridiculous.
That's how I'm doing mine, 14, I do it 15 days. And as soon as you sign it, give me your deposit, and I order your material then.
Because it's like I can't imagine I can't imagine the people like bidding on West Street because either they're going to make tons of money because the price is going to go back down, or they're going to lose their shirt because the price is
gonna be
going to go
tough,
back
yeah.
up. It's not going to stay the same. The one thing I can tell you right now is there's going to be more chaos in the next
Oh,
year than there is going to be leveling off.
Oh, absolutely.
Go buy fertilizer. We told you guys go buy your fertilizer.
Okay. You all set, Gus?
Yeah.
Counselor Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I still recommend what we're doing right now, not to change from the plan. I do know there's gonna be some years where we do a lot of roads, and there's gonna be some years that we don't do a lot of roads. But obviously, the next couple of years is huge. River, Crane, west, south, the TIP project that's coming up. All those big, huge projects that are really the artery of our town
Yeah.
are coming up. And so if that takes away from, little Boone Street or whatever it may be, or little small road, then we do what we need to do. But I think we have a great plan, the basics of a plan. And then each year we should readjust how it goes. You never know, there may be another recession where people are looking for work everywhere. So with the inflation so high at this point in time. So, so we never know what's gonna happen. I just say we stick with the plan, don't change too much of it. But we need to be prepared to adjust fire where we need to adjust fire at, but looking forward to keep seeing those roads moving along. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. Agenda item number 8, discussion about felled trees on Moore Street and removal plans. I did talk to you earlier about this. As I drove by, it looked like there were still some trees laying on the side there. But if you could just take a look at it, I'd appreciate it.
So I'll just update. So I did ask my guys to go and pick up the trees along Moore Street, because that is the deal when National Grid cuts them down. All they ask is that we pick them up for them. So I did ask them. They were instructed to do it like 2 weeks ago. Marquetti does say that they're not all done, so I will go and inspect it tomorrow, and we will regroup again.
All right. Thank you.
Kevin's puzzled.
I drive past it every day. I thought they were all done. I could be
drove
wrong,
by- I
but
drove by there yesterday, and it looked like they were still laying there.
Trunks.
Yeah.
Maureen?
I just have an idea. These aren't new trees that are cut, right?
They're the ones on the Morris Street.
Okay, well, you mean the ones at the cemetery?
No.
That was the ones
No.
that I heard of last, so these are new ones.
They're on the, if we're going
They went
toward
new.
downtown, they're on the left side.
Okay,
Think of that.
I'm just saying, trees are very valuable. Maybe we could suggest to, the homeowner that they get free trees from Opeka.
This
So
is-
we
this is
can
on
replace some of the
Coal
trees
Forest
that have
property,
been
isn't it?
cut.
All right.
This is Coal Forest property. It's the edge of Coal Forest and Morris Street.
Mhm.
they were endangering the wires.
Right,
Yeah.
the electrical.
Yep.
And they couldn't be like trimmed?
No, they were
Yeah.
they were some big old dead trees, so they
They were
needed.
dead?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's
One of
good
them's
to
like this.
know. Yeah, because it's like, we can't be.
It also may be that we
cutting a lot
can't,
of
if it is that
trees.
big and there's a stump there
Some
that
of them
big,
are big.
we can't move it. We don't have anything
Well, not
big.
the stump, but I did see some.
It's
Big
not a
parts of the
stump, but
tree
it's
laying down.
Yeah,
The
there are
base.
some
It's
pieces.
the trunk of the tree,
Those are big.
and it's 24 inches at least.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
gotta
talking
go
about the ones
36.
Yeah.
that are still on
Maybe
the ground.
36.
No, but
Just take a look.
I will
Maybe
take a look at
maybe
it,
they were
yes.
removed.
You're gonna
I'll let
need-
you know.
You're gonna need a loader.
Yeah, and
All
I don't
right.
even know if we're able to take that.
Agenda item number 9, discussion of possible removal of trees at Oak Ridge Cemetery. Now, I did get a resident who asked me about that. We have discussed it before.
Yep,
We think that if you did remove those trees, one of them fell down on the fence
Yep.
already. So if you did remove those trees, you probably could get your money back by selling cemetery plots.
Yeah.
That's his opinion.
so I will tell you that we have reached out to some of the local tree people. I just haven't got a quote actually back. They're they're exceptionally busy right now, so it's kind of hard sometimes to get them to come out and look at things.
Okay.
But my gut is I haven't even counted the trees, but there's a considerable number of very large trees there, very large pine trees. If you budgeted, let's just say there's 10. It's gonna be $1,000 a tree, plus you have to take out the stump if you wanna resell it. So you're up to 10,000 plus another 250, we'll say 200 just to make round numbers, right? So you're up to
2,500 to get rid of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're up to 12,000 before you even do any preparation other than grinding the stump. We only sell every lot is only $600. You're never going to get that many lots in there to recoup your money to what that is. Okay, so if we do it, we can do it because we want to expand the cemetery. I don't have $12,000. I don't think the cemetery we have other trees in the cemetery that are much higher priority than the trees that are there that are alive, that because we have trees that are dying that we need to take down in the cemetery. And I keep on telling them to piecemeal it because I don't have $12,000 in the cemetery funds to go take the trees down. So I spoke to my guys and they're like, no, do you know how much prep and work and pulling all those stumps? Because you can't, there's no dirt there. The roots are right out of the ground. So I don't think we would make our money back just selling the plots because $12,000 at $600 a whack is a lot of plots.
I don't even know if $1,000 covers it because
I don't either.
The big tree at Melangeable, the funeral home, was a big oak, and that was $4,500,
Yeah.
and that was at discounted.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, that's a
One-
$20,000
one tree.
job all day long.
Yeah.
Well, one tree did fall down on the fence. You
Oh,
don't-
yeah.
And you don't think the other trees are dangerous?
They're not, listen, trees, dead trees don't fall down and live trees fall down. So, that's Kevin, like, oh yeah, that's totally true. You cannot predict, I would have to cut every tree down in this town if I thought I could predict when they were gonna fall or not.
But
Because
those
the
do
trees,
look- Those do look like the roots are up on the ground.
And the pine trees,
but pine
they
trees are
surface grown.
always do that. That's normal, they're normal trees. Are they big pine trees? Absolutely. Are pine trees more prone to breaking and falling? Absolutely. But do we have pine trees everywhere? Absolutely. So I will get the quote, so, because I'm curious, but I don't think we can make our money back if that's what the theory was. If we really need it because we need to expand the cemetery, that's a whole different situation. But again, we'll have to come up with some money to be able to do that. If you want me to take my 100,000, I did start talking about snow and ice, and I don't think I ever finished that conversation. So I would like to propose, when we get a final number, and I will come with a transfer, that we take that some of that snow and ice money that's gonna be extra, because we're not going to spend, we don't need to spend it even. We're gonna have close to probably about 100,000, quote me on it, but at least probably about 75,000 left in snow and ice. I would say that 75,000 should go into the road improvements fund.
All right.
And that would give you a little bit more to do maybe some of those other crack sealing and things with, instead of your big projects. Okay?
Now, this is the snow and ice overtime account?
It's not, so our snow and ice are which includes our overtime, includes our, where we pay our contractors, includes where we get our materials from. So that account, anything that's related to snow and ice comes out of that. We even, when we need new blades on our snow plows, that's where it comes from. If there's a repair that happened during a snowstorm on a snow dedicated piece of equipment, we can even take some of the money to do those repairs.
All right.
So we use that for snow dedicated stuff. At the end of the year, you can't decrease the amount, so it's 400,000. So, but it's already in the budget. It can either go back to free cash, or you can redesignate it to a different fund.
I get it.
Right.
Yep.
And this would be some way that you could just redesignate it directly to the roads,
All right.
which are high priority. Last year you bought a vehicle, not that we've seen it yet. because-
You might get it. Next year.
Okay.
Just
Councilor
a,
Evans.
what about sidewalks?
You could dedicate it to sidewalks. You could dedicate it to whatever you wanted to.
Don't we have a decent amount in sidewalks now
No.
already? I thought we had money
I thought we
put
had like
into there already.
6,000 or something.
So I know some of the money got voted back, right, from that one project? From
Yeah.
the shared street project? I don't know.
It was.
I don't know if it went back to the sidewalk fund though, or if it's
Actually, I
just.
think it did.
Okay.
That's what I
think we
mean, I
did
thought we
this
put a
into
lot of money
sidewalk.
into sidewalks.
Was it, I don't remember how much went back.
I'd have to look at that.
Okay, I'd have to, I will ask
I
Karen how
thought there
much
was a
went
good
back,
chunk that went back into there.
so.
All right.
that might be good.
So if there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
We're out.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, guys.